Do you have your information on
I have
trivia?
Yeah, I do.
I didn't really explain to you what that plate you're giving away is. I mean, do you know what it is? How it works?
It's a number plate.
Right. But what about those fancy?
This must clip onto the forks.
Yeah, but it goes. Yeah, it goes further away from the fork. We'll get to that. I got to start the show.
Okay.
But it looks pretty good so far.
Oh, that is so funny. There's a typo on petty.
No.
Yeah. On one side.
Oh, on the ink for the mount?
Isn't that weird? One side says Breast and Petty.
Good evening, everyone. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A, and I'm your host, Joe Abbate. Thank you for joining us just a week away from Christmas Eve. Susie, how's all your shopping? You get all your shopping done?
No, I didn't even start, actually.
No?
No.
Well, that's one of the things about living 3,000 miles away from the people you buy gifts for.
You buy everything on Amazon.
Yeah, have them delivered.
And they deliver tomorrow. So, yeah.
All right. In a minute, I guess I'll be. Oh no, that minute is here right now. We're past the 60-second thing. What are you giving away tonight, Beb?
Oh, okay. So for what's it worth, I have this STP oil treatment.
Yeah, that stuff's good for up to 5 quarts of oil in your car or truck.
Okay. And for trivia, it's that nice poster.
Oh yeah, poster from Mike McCook.
Mike McCook. And for viewer appreciation, this is pretty cool. It's a number plate.
Right.
With the mounts on the back.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Look at that.
That keeps it plate away from the forks a little bit more. You get your cables and stuff behind there.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And it's got 2 O-rings, I think, that come with it. So all you do is take it out of the bag.
Yeah.
And you mount it up, and you're ready to rock and roll. And that is fresh off the press.
The press.
At Preston Petty Products. Paul Standard just sent me that the other day with some super sod and cheese and other cool stuff to eat, which I'm not giving away. So there's that, okay? Show is made possible by our sponsors, Racer X, the International Motocross Museum, Motion Pro, SoCal, Maico, Armor, Preston Petty Products, Full Circle Racing, and of course, Amsoil. All righty. Just a reminder once again, better get over to Motion Pro right now for that 20% off. MP9135. That offer ends January 1st. If you'd like to become a sponsor of Vintage Motocross Q&A, and who wouldn't, for just $249.95 a month, you get your name up on the board behind me, just like you see it right here, like Armor, Full Circle, and International Motocross Museum, and all that cool stuff. And for just $49.95, a one-time payment, $49.95, you get a shirt, you get an apron, and you get your name up on the board for 90 days. Pretty good deal, huh? $50. And while I am thinking about that, I did receive 2 of these last week, and I'm going to have them up on the board shortly. Bill Harper, thank you so much, Bill Harper, for becoming a show supporter. We're going to add your name up to the board. And Kevin Burgess, thank you, both of you guys, so much for the $50 donation toward the show. You're going to get shirts, you're going to get aprons, and you're going to get a poster. I think one of you guys actually sent me a note, said you didn't want anything. But I might send you something anyway because I'm just that kind of a cat. All right. In the meantime, we have a new video from Roy. It's a couple of minutes long. I think I'm going to do what I did last week and run it throughout the show. But it's not as long as last week's Roy video. I think that one went about 20 minutes, and we came back 4 times at 5 minutes. I think this one's about 11 or 12 minutes long. Let's get a look at it. This is a little bit of a different way of looking at something we all should be paying attention to when it comes to motocross and tuning. And it's just something we all do, but Roy has put a little bit of a different twist on it and thinks it is should be at the top of your list, so to speak. Roy, what do you got for us?
Hello, I'm Roy Vanderveer, and welcome to the very first edition of that 90s VMX show, where we take a look at the true life adventures, technologies, and happenings from the decade of grunge. When I look back or think back to the 90s, there was one person who was influencing a large cross-section of motocross racers all across the country. He was working hard out of his independent repair shop. He was printing newsletters. He was sending out technical bulletins. And then he even started writing books. And that was nobody other than Eric Gore. Whenever Eric would publish something, I wasted no time whatsoever getting my hands on that information. This was true life knowledge that really helped any amateur or expert level rider improve what was going on in their program. And he was also giving everybody insight into engine building tips and techniques that were not widely publicized. You weren't going to read about this stuff in Motocross Action or Dirt Bike Magazine. It was the next level up. So absolutely, I owe a lot to the stuff that Eric put out, and it even helped make me the mechanic that I am today. So in all of his books, there is one page out of his very first book that I always think back to. And it's a project that I wanted to do very much, but I didn't really have the right need to do it. But it's valuable to a lot of people. And that project is how to build a mobile workbench. Now, as I mentioned, I've always loved this idea, but I'm visiting a friend in the Los Angeles area who is an active road racer, motocrosser, and does desert racing. And when I saw his workshop and how much stuff he had packed into a very small amount of space, it took me right back to this idea, which I did introduce to him because it really helps consolidate everything to make it easier to work on your bike. Now, his garage space was limited, so now with this mobile workbench, he's got the option to roll that bench out into the sunlight and work outside as well as inside, effectively more than doubling the amount of workspace that he's got to use. Okay, given that space is at a premium for just about everybody, let's run down what you need to build yourself a mobile workbench. First thing to do is think about the things you're going to need for a workshop. You need a solid bench, a vise, a parts washer, and a safe place to store your tools and parts. This mobile workbench is one that I could use in the shop or put in the van for use at the track. I start with a steel motorcycle crate that I pick up out of the trash at a local motorcycle shop. These types of crates are ideal because they are fastened together with bolts that are very sturdy. Next, I bolted wheels onto the bottom so that I could roll it around even when it's loaded down with a lot of weight. Then I increased the rigidity and made it more secure by bolting sides and a bench top to the crate. I bought a stainless steel sink from a building supply store so I could rebuild engines or suspension components without making a mess. Then I positioned a large vise over the sink so I could hold the engine or suspension parts in place while I work on them.
All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get back to Roy in just a little bit. In the meantime, we're going to move on with Vintage Motocross Q&A tonight, and we are going into the Moto Showcase. The Moto Showcase segment is brought to you by Preston Petty Products. Be sure to visit them online at PrestonPettyProducts.com. And don't forget, we're going to be giving away that number plate a little bit later on with that new and improved number plate bracket setup. You can put it on any bike with forks up to 36 millimeters. Tonight in the Moto Showcase, we got something really cool from Paul Griffin. You know him better as Maico Mo, 1967 Maico 360. And it was restored by Maico Mo in his shop in Monterey County, California. We stripped it down carefully, inventorying every nut and bolt, replacing everything needing replacement, working toward putting this classic back to the showroom floor condition, and even a little bit beyond that. For starters, this chassis was sandblasted and the original color was matched by a computer for our painter, who was next level at pairing original colors to today's paint technology. Secondly, the engine underwent a new balanced rod on the crank, a new piston and first overbore, new bearings, gasket seals, and lastly, cases, prepped exactly how the bike was built, delivered by Maico in Germany in 1967. And we've even got a stamp here that shows March of 1967 in the cylinder. The oval barrel is stamped March 1967 on the cylinder. That is flawless condition. The wheels are the original Rodelli steel rims we re-chromed, then replaced, and spared no expense of locating a brand new set of OEM Metzler trial tires from Germany. Here's another good look at the that oval barrel. A lot of people often hear the words square barrel and radial, but there was an oval barrel before that. And here it is, just like that. Here's another good picture here of some of Paul's work on the piston, showing clearances and stuff like that. Anyway, the forks were completely revamped. New seals were installed, NOS springs, fork boots, NOS growing shocks in the rear, with NOS cotter pins holding the stock shock bolts in place, nice and tight. All of the Magura controls, and there were a lot, NOS, yes, you're seeing the photo correctly. There are 6 cables on this Maico. Got a good shot right here. Look at that. That is a lot of cables. That's a very interesting set of triple clamps too, Paul. I've never, well, I mean, I've seen the lower clamp, of course, cast into the lower clamp or the bar rest, but I've never seen a shape like that. And certainly it looks pretty unique to Maico. Yep, there are 6 cables on the Maico. Throttle cable, front brake, rear brake, choke lever on the handlebar cable, clutch cable, and lastly, the compression release cable, because it's the biggest bore Maico of 1967. All of the Magura controls are mounted on none other than Magura's bolt-on crossbar chrome steel handlebars with NOS Magura grips. This impeccable 1967, and it is impeccable, I got to say it. This bike is beautiful. This bike is going to be for sale at the Maico Auto Auction in Las Vegas coming up. January 31st. That happens on Saturday, January 31st, and Saturday, January 31st.
You said Saturday, meaning this Saturday?
No. Saturday, January 31st, 2026.
Okay.
At the Maico Auction in Las Vegas, which you don't tell me. I mean, it's been at the same place for years now. Except I can't really remember where that was at this time. Is it by the I don't know, convention center? You'll find it. Come on. How many Maico motorcycle auctions could there be in Las Vegas on January 31st? Anyway, thank you, Paul Griffin, for sending in the 67 oval barrel. And, you know, maybe we'll have a conversation someday about that. Was it referred to as the oval barrel when it first came out, or did people start calling it an oval barrel when the square barrel came out? Which really has nothing to do with only it being shaped squarely, but I think it has to do with the bore and stroke more so of, I think it's 58 by 58 or 54 by 54, whatever it is. I think that's why it's more called a square barrel than the shape. Thank you, Paul Griffin. And that's been your Maico Minute with Paul Griffin. Paul's got a nice shop set up down there in Monterey, not too far from Santa Cruz, and he has some beautiful Maicos that he builds, and he's in business, too, to serve you. If you're looking for a Maico restoration, get a hold of Paul Griffin. We have been talking about it lately. They are back in the United States, the one, the only original molds. Well, I shouldn't say original, but they are the molds that Paul Standard has been using to reproduce the Preston Petty fenders for the last couple of decades now, I think. I think they've been around for about 15 years, 20 years maybe, since the name Preston Petty has been resurrected by Paul Standard. With Preston Petty's blessing. And now the molds are now back in America where they belong. So be sure to visit them online at PrestonPetty.com. Here's the problem segment tonight is brought to you by Motion Pro. I got one nice question, and I went somewhere to find the answer because I honestly wasn't sure. All right. Paul Enriquez. I'm currently redoing the fork on my 72 CZ 380, and I got as far as removing the dampening rods. They just don't slide out of the fork tubes. Yes, I took the little bolts out of the bottom, but they don't come out. Any advice would be appreciated. P.S. Love your show. Well, I had to go to the guy who knows all about CZs, and that, of course, is CZ Guy Lee. There's some O-rings, or they're not O-rings, they're C-clips. You see them right there sitting on those aluminum bushings? They're C-clips, and they're inside your forks. You can't get those out unless you remove those clips. There are a couple of bikes that have that type of setup that you cannot get the dampers out of the bottom and they don't go up through the top. So you need to take those C-clips out, and it's still a little stiff. So you're going to have to get a broom handle from the top, give it a little shot with a hammer, and they're going to fly right out of the bottom. Be careful when you put them back together again that you have those clips in the groove at the bottom of the fork, or you will go off a jump and you'll find your front wheel at the bottom of a ditch somewhere while you're flying through the air, not with the greatest of ease, with no lower forks and wheel on your bike. Don't ask how I know this. Gordon McCaffer knows it too. We exchanged that story one day back when we were children. All right. I feel the desperate need to take a break. So I'm going to run. What am I going to run here? I'm going to run a little commercial. Be right back in just a second. Okay. I got to take a breather, have a little drink of water, and we'll be right back with more Vintage Motocross Q&A.
Be light, and there was light. Preston Petty said let there be light, and he gave you this 1200 lumens with a rechargeable battery on the back. Hook it up to your bike. No wires, no fuss, no muss. Get over to PrestonPettyProducts.com today. Thanks, Paul Stannard.
All right, you know what? This segment with
needed was a parts washer.
Roy was going
I
pretty
mounted
good.
a 3-gallon mini parts washer under one.
Take a breath, Roy. Okay. The segment with Roy was going pretty good when he was talking about his new mobile workbench. And if you were listening closely, or if you weren't, rather, he makes it out of a crate, a steel crate that a motorcycle is shipped to the dealership in, which those things are very sturdy. So let's get back to Roy's mobile workbench. I think it's a pretty good story. And be a good time for it. Don't you think so?
For what?
Roy's story.
Yeah.
All right. Come on, Roy. Where are you?
Basin of the sink. Once you clean your parts, you then need a way to blow them dry with air. So I bought a 1/2 horsepower electric compressor and linked it to a 5-gallon air tank for air storage. This little unit makes enough pressure and has enough volume to pop beads on tires. So now you've got your mobile tire changing center at the track too. There was so much space left over in the crate that I added storage shelves and bins and still had enough room to mount a toolbox. Because I had some expensive tools in the crate, I made secure sides with hasps so I could flip up the sides and lock the box closed. The sides on my mobile workbench were so large and blank that I just had to fill them up with stickers from my favorite friends' businesses and my favorite brands' products. So there you have it. Next time you're scrounging through your messy garage looking for a 10mm T-handle, or you just had your toolbox ripped off from the track, think about this simple and inexpensive alternative for a workbench. So to wrap up this little segment, keep in mind your workbench does not have to be expensive. It does not have to be fancy. Marketplace is your friend. You can get used toolboxes pretty commonly for as cheap as about $50. You can buy used vices. Most of the things you need for your toolbox you can also get out of the used market. So, hey, it's great to have all the fresh new stuff, but if you're busy spending money on your bike, we got to make it go as far as we can. And Eric Gore has put forward, I think, one of the best workshop ideas that I've ever seen. I love this thing. I'm sorry I don't have one, but it just doesn't quite work out for me. But I know there is a lot of people out there that this could really do justice, save you a lot of time, save you a lot of money, makes it easier to work on your bike. Nobody likes working on their bike when it's difficult to do, meaning that you got to dig it out of the shop or you got to move a car out of the way. Anything that gets in the way makes it harder to spend time doing things like cleaning your air filters, checking your tire pressure, making sure your fork air pressure is correct, and all the little maintenance items that you have to do if you're riding a dirt bike. So before you throw your hands up in disgust, how about you take a look at Eric Gore's mobile workbench and consider building one for yourself.
Now, I was texting with Roy a little bit back and forth today, thanking him for sending the video in. He sent in to us a lot of good videos over the past few years, and Roy tells me he's going to be doing a little bit more with books about sharing his knowledge and what books he has read and why he thinks you should have these books on your bookshelf. And there are a lot of good things out there, like from people like Eric Gore and a few others who have put together some books. And it's nice because not everything is available online, and some people like to actually sit down and enjoy reading a book once in a while. So I want to thank you, Roy Vanderveer, for all you do for us here at the show and for another great segment. Thanks, Roy. You know what time it is, Susie?
Yeah.
Time for trivia. That's right. Trivia. We're giving away another poster tonight. Compliments of Mike McCook and Motorcyclist Illustrated, which is available on Facebook. There's a poster, 18 by 24. Fabulous cover shot of the great Tony DiStefano and Jimmy Weinert. This is a call-in contest, okay? Call in only. Don't answer the question online. Do not type in the answer. Call in only, 925-784-2195. That's 925-784-2195. Here
we go.
The question. From the Catalan word meaning thoroughbred, it's the model name for a motocross bike. From the Catalan word meaning thoroughbred, it's the model name for a motocross bike. In other words, Honda Elsinore. Okay? Husqvarna Desert Master. So there's a bike out there, and in Catalan, and who knows if you know what that is or not. I don't want to tell you because then you're going to maybe know what it is. But from the Catalan word meaning thoroughbred, it's the model name for an MX bike. Call in only, 925-784-2195, 925-784-2195. Sexy, scantily clad operators are standing by waiting to answer your call. In the meantime, we're going to go down to Dave's Corner. Dave's Classic Corner, that is. This is brought to you each week by Dave Boydston. Dave Boydston can be found at AMS if you're looking for parts, amsracing.com. But if you're looking for some online entertainment, you want to follow Dave Boydston on Facebook on his personal page. All right? In the meantime, we've got a little something that was put together by Dave. I don't think I ran this thing recently. I know I ran a mini bike the last time I was out here. Anyway, without any further ado, Dave.
Good morning, everybody. This is Dave from AMS Racing. I was just doing a little sorting and moving and stuff, and I thought I'd show you the 125 Maico, 1972. So it's first year for narrow frame. 125 was a road race motor, actually, for them, and they almost won the 125 World Championship in 1974 with the rotary valve motor on the 125. So there's a rotary valve inside there. The carburetor's in the right side cover. This bike's got new rims, polished stainless spokes, correct tires front and back. That's a 250 by 21 on the front of this. The small 1 petcock gas tank is correct for the 125s and 250s. This is the low bend, which actually turns out to be the bend for CR low in modern handlebars. Those little wooden dowels holding that factory Bode number plate out that they put the yellow on almost every bike. I don't think I've seen the other colors on them. Back then we put stickers or numbers right on the side plates. Usually see the small logo on the small tank. This is the way the early seat was. Later they got about 2 inches higher, and they came with Girlings. These are Bogue shocks, B-O-G-E, which became Mulholland shocks later. And the rear wheel is a cush drive in it, and that means that you got to let the tire air out and pull the axle out from the other side, and the sprocket and everything stays in that position. So you got to then pull it out and get it to clear and come out. This has stock pipe and a little J&R silencer on it, which would have been required about this year. It's in a gloss fighting red paint job with painted frame, also not powder coated. Very good looking little bike, all Magura controls, black cables. And this one's done from one end to the other. The Magura grips, the little pads so the fender could rock. New fork boots, correct wipers. Yeah, my allergies are kicking my butt. The correct shifter, and they bent it a little bit. That was a pretty cool bend to make it just a little bit shorter for them. Here's a little known fact for a 125 Maico. The engine runs backwards. Take that little cover off and kick that kicker over and tell me what direction that flywheel's turning. This is a gear-driven Maico. It doesn't have a primary chain. So the motor had to run backwards because the primary chain is what eliminated it from having to go backwards when you only use 2 shafts in the transmission. When you use the 3 shafts in the transmission, the motor can go the same direction. But swear to God, the motor runs backwards on this bike. 71, 125, rotary valve, Maico Racer.
All right, Dave Boyden. Very, very interesting little segment right there from Dave Boyden on the Maico 125. In the meantime, Susie tells me we have someone here who knows the answer to the trivia question. And this is Joe Abbate. You're live on Vintage Motocross Q&A. I said Abbate, didn't I? It's Joe Abbate. You're live on Vintage Motocross Q&A. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, what's up, Joe? Philip Agapio here, brother.
Phil Agapio. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Good.
From the Catalan word meaning thoroughbred, it's the model name for an MX bike. What bike would that be?
That would be a Persang, my friend.
It is a Persang, and you know, I just learned about this today a little bit, and it recently, you know, I followed the Ferrari market, and they came out with a car called the Puro Sangue, and which means pure blood. So I started reading that, and then I started reading this, and I also realized that Signor Bultaco and Ferruccio Lamborghini were friends, and they both enjoyed the sport of bullfighting, and both of their cars and motorcycles had a lot to do with the names of the things that are involved in bullfighting, and that's what we have here tonight, Phil. So you got yourself a poster. You don't have one, do you?
No, I don't. Actually, I'm looking forward to it, brother.
All right. I will make sure you text me, or Susie's got your address, Phil, and we will get you out a poster immediately, okay?
Very much appreciated.
You are very welcome. Merry Christmas to you, Phil, if I don't see you, okay?
Merry Christmas to you. See you soon, bud.
Thanks, man. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, Phil. And I just disconnected us from the thing here, Susie, on this phone. Do you watch it from this phone?
I'll
You
watch it.
from.
I'll watch
Okay.
it from my
Okay.
phone.
So there it is. And if you're not familiar with what a persang is, there it is. All right. Bultaco persang. And we were in Dave's Classic Corner. We were talking about that. Be sure to follow Dave Boydston on his personal page on Facebook. Always great videos. He's at an auction. He's at swap meets. He's showing you cool stuff with motorcycles. Dave Boydston, great guy. If you want to become a supporter of the show, $49.95. It's going to get you a poster. It's going to get you a shirt of your choice in the design you want, in the size you want, whether it's the Tune, the Vintage Motocross Q&A logo. It comes in black, yellow, or gray. You might want a white one. We could do that too. In fact, we can make it any color you want. Right. But in stock, black, yellow, and gray. And to keep that shirt clean, you're going to get an apron. Vintage Motocross Q&A apron, all for $50. Get your name on a board, get a poster, a shirt, an apron, get your name on a board for 3 months. All right, $49.95. The What's It Worth segment is brought to you by Tom McAllister, Full Circle Racing. Be sure to visit them online at Full Circle Racing Limited. Tom's a great guy and has everything the big boys have down in Southern California, whether it's Buchanan or W or whoever it might be. And I'm not saying those are bad companies. They're not. Support the guy. Support the little guy that supports the racing throughout the Northwest, Tom McAllister. This is, of course, a segment of the show where I ask you, the viewers at home, to guess how much you think this bike recently sold for. And Susie says whoever gets closest without going over will get what, Suze?
I am going to give away the STP oil.
Oh, the STP
treatment.
oil treatment. Didn't we say that at the beginning of the show?
Yeah.
Before we went on? Okay.
Yeah.
STP oil treatment, compliments of Russell Waters and
Yeah.
STP. All right?
All right, hold
Here we
on.
go.
Don't go yet.
Why? What do you got?
Well, because I have to get on to.
Oh, you have to get back online.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? While we have a little bit of time here, yeah, Russell Waters is a representative of AMSOIL, of course, the first synthetic oil since 1972. And he is also a representative for STP. And as if that weren't enough, remember the great smell of Castrol when you were a youngster? When you mixed that with 110 octane gas that you were able to buy at the pump at your Sunoco station? Sunoco's great. I don't know if they make 110 anymore, but there is race fuel. But Castrol's coming back to America thanks to Russell Waters. That's right. From the UK back to North Carolina and into your garage, Russell will have Castrol motor oil available. All right. That's really cool. Susie, you on
I'm
now?
ready.
All right. Susie's ready. So we are going to get moving with the What's It Worth segment.
Okay.
All right.
Pay attention.
Beautiful looking bike. Here it is, Bultaco. 1966 Bultaco Persang Matisse is powered by a 246cc two-stroke single paired with a 4-speed transmission. It's finished in yellow over a silver double cradled frame. The bike rides on wire spoke wheels and further equipped with an AMO monoblock carburetor, an expansion chamber exhaust system, a Kickstarter, clip-on handlebars, Bader preload adjustable shocks, and a black solo seat with white piping. The Persang Matisse was purchased by the seller in 2025 and is now offered in California for off-road use only. It does come with a bill of sale. Finished in the yellow, the bike has a fiberglass fuel tank, a silver double duplex cradle frame, and a solid solo seat, which we were talking about just a little bit earlier. Alloy rims measuring 19 inches up front, 18 at the rear, are laced to the drum brake hubs, stainless steel spokes, and mounted to Shinko tires. Suspension is provided by Bader, conventional telescopic forks, as well as the silver painted tubular steel swing arm mounted with a dual Bader preload adjustable set of shocks. I like everything I see on this bike, including the finish of the polished aluminum. It isn't overdone. The tires are right. I love that color yellow as well. Power is sent to the rear wheel through a wet clutch 4-speed gearbox. It shifts on the right and also has the drive chain on that side as well. The motorcycle does not have a title or registration. It is being sold on a bill of sale. There's all the beautiful pictures once again. I would put this bike on a solid 9 on a scale of 10, that's for sure. The paint is beautiful. I like the way the frame is painted silver. The hardware was done. Got the correct clip-on bars. He's got the correct rectangular aluminum number plate up front. Bars, grips. Everything's looking good here. So, without any further ado, what do you guys think this bike recently sold for? $6,000? $8,000? $10,000? I would put that bike in the $10,000 category all day long. Bike actually sold for $6,500 plus a 10% buyer premium. Put another $650 on there. That brings you to what? $7,150. $7,150 all in. Sue, what do you got? Anybody with the correct answer? 7,150?
Yeah.
Yeah, who? I got
It
Brian
looks like
Poland at
Rob-
68.
Rob Wilhelm,
Rob Wilhelm?
7,100.
Rob Wilhelm, there it is, 7,100. I see
Yeah.
it as well. Rob Wilhelm, you are tonight's winner of the poster. If you already have a poster and you'd like
No,
some,
it's not a poster.
oh, I'm sorry, it's
It's
the
the
STP
STP
oil.
oil treatment.
I'm sorry.
That's who you're okay.
All right,
That's why I'm here to correct you.
thank you. Robert Wilhelm, builder of some beautiful Hondas, and now you're going to get some STP oil treatment. You could use that in your truck, in your car, whatever kind of equipment, I guess, has oil in it, which is pretty much everything that burns gas except a Tesla. Okay? What else we got going on here? Oh, I wanted to thank Russell Waters one more time for all he does for us here at the show. And look at all these wonderful AMSOIL products. All right? Get a hold of AMSOIL, follow them online, and if you want to save 20%, which is basically like getting free shipping, maybe even a little bit more, 25% off all AMSOIL products when you go to theoilpeople.shop, amsoil.com. That's the Oil People shop, theoilpeople.shop, amsoil.com. You could buy directly from Russell Waters. In that segment of the show,
Especially that window cleaner.
oh, I love the window cleaner. I got a fetish for it. I spray it all over the place. I love it. Anyway, we've got Full Circle Racing was a sponsor of that segment. And we are going to be moving on here right now. You know what we're going to do? I did mention the Castrol oil.
I have, what do you call it too?
What? You got our viewer appreciation?
Yeah.
All right, why don't we do this? I'm going to bring up a video from Ted Boyko
Okay.
where he talks about rebuilding cranks.
Okay.
And I'm going to let that run for a while. Everybody loves this segment, Ted Boyko and the expansion chamber. So let's get a look at that. And when we get back from Ted Boyko, we'll get the prize given away for viewer appreciation. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. We'll be taping some new stuff with Ted Boyko in the very, very near future, too. But without any further ado, the one and only. A few segments of this show get more attention than the expansion chamber with Ted Boyko. And I'm really, really happy to have him back this week. Ted, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you for having me.
It is really, really my pleasure. And I'll tell you, there is something that we've all thought about from when we were kids. We heard the words port, polish, and bore. We kind of have a good idea on what boring is now. But when it comes to porting and polishing, there are some people out there that, they want to be a great tuner. They want to experiment with some things, and they really go from bad to worse because they don't know what they're doing when it comes to porting. So in a second, we're going to talk about the tools that you use. But I think before that, the viewers or whoever is thinking about opening up some ports or raising or lowering, should they read some books? Where could they go to get some information before they really ruin a cylinder?
Well, there's all kinds of two-stroke tuner books out there that people can get, and it would probably be really wise for them to do a little research and get some insight on what raising the exhaust, widening the ports, and so they have some ideas on what works and what doesn't work.
Now that you brought that up, and I want to keep it a little on the brief side if we can. What does raising an exhaust port do to an engine?
Well, raising the exhaust on the thing's going to make the thing rev higher and also going to hurt it down low, depending on what model it is.
Okay. So then what would lowering it do?
Well, lowering the ports is going to give the thing lots of torque. So I do lower the ports quite often on a lot of the new generation two-strokes that come into my building now.
Okay.
I would say that we're shaving 20, 25 thousandths off the base on a lot of these to have more bottom mid-range.
All right. So, and then of course you've got the transfer ports themselves, which overall, I mean, is there the way you open them up or curve them or smooth them out? How many different things can you do in the intake and the transfers, or just the transfers really, that make a difference in the performance of the bike?
Well, you want to grind the transfers in a way to where, especially in the main transfer port, you want a radius around it. You don't want any fuel to get thrown. You don't want to waste any gas out the exhaust. And so what we try to do is that coming from the intake is you want to direct the fuel to the whole idea is trying to get this fuel to the spark plug quicker. That's the best way to put it.
Yes.
So crank pressure is going to push it up. You want to get the fuel to go into the rear transfer and the main transfer, because that's the one that's going to shoot. So what I do is I grind those ports and round them to where the fuel is going to go back towards the spark plug and not out the exhaust. So you're always going to get some fuel that's going to go out the exhaust no matter what. So,
right.
But the key is to try to get it to the spark plug quicker.
Let's talk about this, Ted, because it's more than just some old Dremel tool that a really good tuner needs to do a professional job. So let's look at some of the things. And this looks like a dentist's office to me. I mean, look at that.
That's just a variety of a handful of stuff. Most of those you see laying there are clip and electrical cableized ones that you see the 90-degree. Those are made in Germany. I've been using those CC Specialties. CC Specialties is still around for these guys to purchase their own porting equipment with it's like what they use in nail shops. Basically, it's a flex cable with a pedal on it. And you can purchase these in Tennessee, believe it or not. And I've known the owners since day one, since he started. Clay's passed away, God bless him. But his wife's still alive. And believe it or not, I've been using their stuff forever. And when they were promoting their brand, they would use my cylinders on display at the dealer shows to show that this is what you would do with our tools. And so I've been using the CC Specialties for a while. You'll notice there's a Mac tool there. There's
Which
also
one?
a Snap-on. There's a Mac on the left.
Okay, the aqua colored one.
So I like a lot of these little tiny air grinders as well, because they turn a lot of R's, and they also have different types of heads on them to get into areas that some of these other porting tools won't.
Okay.
The one on the far right is a Snap-on, a high-end Snap-on that I use. I keep several of those on the bench. I have 2 or 3 of those. The one on the far left I use more than anything. That blue one on the left is illegal. That is they don't even make those anymore. So I've been buying. I have brand new ones in boxes, ready to go, because that tool on the left is if you can hang on to that, riding an exhaust, you're a hero.
Is it really illegal, Ted? You can't buy them anymore?
Buy that thing anymore. It's off the charts. That thing has an on and off switch, straight on and off, turns so many R's, and I could grind a hole through that bench, through steel, and it won't stop that thing. You cannot stop it. The new version of that, Makita, is a little, you might as well call it the eco mode, the environment, because I can just barely touch the head of the bench and it'll stop the motor. That's how. So I have backup of those. I have run 2 all day.
Yeah.
That is, I use for doing the rough grinding. That's what we use for rough grinding. And then we come in and use different textures to come up with the techniques that I do.
Okay. You were talking a little bit before about the flex wire.
That's the CC Specialties. If you blow that up, you'll see the old guy on he's on a little pogo stick. I don't know if you can blow it up, but he's on a pogo stick porting a cylinder, a 2-stroke cylinder on his logo. So that's the new version of the CC Specialties.
Okay.
I have 4 of those that I use.
Yeah.
You're only seeing one part of the porting bench. That's only one section. I have a 12-foot bench that runs all the way across with a padded table, for grinding because I don't want none of the cylinders. If you notice, that's a 1/4-inch rubber pad that's on that bench to keep these cylinders from getting beat up. And but I built that bench myself. Because every day it's being used. So I have on the left side of the bench another CC flexible tool. And then I have 3 of those on one bench that you see hanging. So there's not just one CC porting tool there. I have 3 of them that I use.
Right.
And then you'll notice the Makita's on the right. Oh, wait. And then if you go up on the shelf, on the very top, you see a Makita logo above the CC tool. That's a brand new illegal Makita that I bought on eBay for $150. So when they blow up, I have a backup.
Okay.
Because if those Makitas, I'm telling you, I've never used. I used to use a one that's just shaped just like it, but they're no longer in business, called Dumore. Harry remembers we used lots of Dumores that had a long shank and it'll cut through anything. So those Makita grinders there are really, really important to what I do. Those are cartridge rolls that I use. I buy these in, they come 100 in a box.
Yeah.
I use 60 grit. That's something that somebody's really going to want to use when you're porting. You want 60 grit, 120 grit. You want certain sizes to get in certain areas. So you got to have multiple shapes and sizes to do what we do, because every cylinder is different. And the heads, especially doing 4-stroke heads, you got to have all these different shaped cartridge tools to get around the guide. You have a valve guide that you're porting around, and
Sure.
so you need all these different tiny little shapes and sizes.
All right. So just because a guy can take off a cylinder and do a set of rings doesn't mean he can make ports bigger.
That's for sure.
And you recommend he reads some books, he goes online, and you know what? He's got a really good website, and he explains a lot of stuff. A mutual friend, Harry Clem.
Yep, he does.
He's got things on his website that explain what things do, how they do it, why you should and should not do these things. And for the benefit of everyone in the industry, it would be a good idea to take is it still called Clem Research? Clem Research is another guy.
No, that Clem Research he sold it. Harry had sold that. Now it's Group K.
Yeah.
Harry's out in Bullhead. But
Group
yeah,
K.
Harry's got all kinds of information, especially when it comes in the technical side. So anybody that wants to get into the technical side of things, Harry's got it there for them.
Yeah,
And
I would recommend people really do some research. And look, guys, look at the tools you're going to have to buy in order to do the job right. I mean, you might polish up your transfers and stuff like that, but unless you know what you're doing, it may not result in a very, very big difference at all. Correct?
That's right. That's right. Might hurt it.
Ted Boyko, thanks for spending some time with us again today in the expansion chamber. When we come back next time, Ted, what is it that I want? Oh, I want to talk to you about cylinder boring and cross hatches and stuff like that. Okay.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right, Ted. Thanks, man. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye. Ted Boyko. Boyko Racing. We'll be right back with more Vintage Motocross Q&A.
Hi, I'm Tommy Croft, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A with Joe Abbate. We'll be right back with my dear friend Joe.
Motocross struck America, coming from Europe like a lightning bolt, striking the hearts and minds of people all across the country and the world. Battles of intense racing and cutting rivalries with loyalty to brands and heroes intensified as years of blood, sweat, and dirt flew through the minds of those memories of champions as they wrestled their machines through almost impossible tracks. But where are those past champions? And where are their bikes? Terry Good, an ex-pro motocross racer, has made it his life mission to honor these heroes and the bikes they rode to stardom. We raced, we rode, we lived and breathed motocross. Go back in time and relive those moments, now preserved for the first time ever in the world's first museum dedicated to the history of motocross. Our new building is in the gate. Help us get a great start and you can be part of history. Go to internationalmotocrossmuseum.org and become a part of our team.
The International Motocross Museum is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Be sure to visit them online at internationalmotocrossmuseum.org and, of course, on our Facebook page as well. We'll have another Works For Me segment with Terry Good coming up in the next few weeks. If you've been around the last month or so, we had two really incredible episodes, one with the Johnny O'Mara Mugen of 1980, and last week, Bob Hanna, OW27, the 1976 125cc bike that took him to a national championship. Both were incredible episodes, some of our biggest viewing audiences ever, and there's more to come. And I do believe the next bike we're going to have on is going to be the Joe Robert RH72. In the meantime, who's just as important as Joe Robert in motocross? Jeff Kokoski. Look at him. Did you know? Did you know by Jeff Kokoski? We got another episode or a segment produced by Jeffrey this week, and it's got to do with Kayaba, or last week it had to do with Kayaba suspension. This week, I think it's got to do with Showa. Last week, we talked about how Kayaba suspension, now called KYB, got started in Japan. It grew largely automotive, commercial, and power sports suspension supplier in the world. But what about Japan's other major suspension manufacturer, Showa? Did you know how Showa suspension got started? All through history is lost as to exactly who started Showa. The company was founded in October of 1938 as the Showa Aircraft Precision Works Limited, and like Kayaba, helped the Japanese Navy establish their might in the years leading up to World War II. But unlike Kayaba, Showa did not focus on aircraft damping systems, but instead manufactured a variety of aircraft components. However, after the war, they suffered the same fate as Kayaba and had to reinvent themselves because the Allies completely dismantled the Japanese military. Within a few years, Showa had shifted focus from building aircraft parts to making automobile components in order to feed Japan's struggling post-war economy. Showa now concentrated on suspension systems, hydraulics, steering systems, and driveline-related mechanism. At the same time, Soichiro Honda began production of his first motorcycles in order to give Japanese citizens affordable transportation in those struggling years after the war. Now, Showa would supply suspension systems to the new startup company, thus beginning a business connection with Honda Motorcycles, Cars, eventually Honda Racing Corporation, that continues to this day and accounts for approximately 50% of Showa's business. In a bit of oddity, in 1950, Showa purchased They purchased the Rikuo Internal Combustion Company. Rikuo means Land King in Japanese, was actually one of the first motorcycle manufacturing companies in Japan. In the 1930s, they ordered or operated under a license by Harley-Davidson to manufacture bikes under Rikuo name, but used Harley designs and tooling. By working with the Japanese, it was far and away for Harley-Davidson to make up for their losses during the Great Depression. I'll bet you didn't know that. In another odd twist, Showa is the OEM suspension supplier for Harley today. Although Rikuo ceased production a short time later, the die was cast for Showa's focused in motorcycle and automotive suspension systems. Jeffrey sent me some great pictures here too. I want to make sure I get all of them in. The company continued to grow throughout 1960s and 1970s. Showa branched out and now manufactured operations in other countries, including Asia, Brazil, Canada, Mexico, Spain, United Kingdom, and the USA. By the 2010s, Honda owned more than 34% of Showa, as well as 41% of the carburetor and fuel injection system supplier Kian, and 35% of the brake system manufacturer Nissan. That And then in 2019, Honda partnered with Hitachi Automotive Group to absorb Showa, Kia, and Nissan, as well as a few other companies under a single umbrella called Astemo Limited. Really cool stuff here, Jeff.
It is.
Anyway, here's one of the logos from Astemo. I believe it is. I'm going to go back to this right here. Astemo combines the first letters of the words Advanced Sustainable Technologies for Mobility. The merger was not completed in 2021, but Astemo has positioned itself as a $14 billion major global supplier of automotive and motorcycle components. Wow. Although they are not a huge conglomerate, Showa maintains some and autonomy and continues to focus on suspension systems. Today, it is a $3 billion company with 13,000 employees throughout the world.
Wow.
Showa.
Wow.
Jeff Kokoski, thank you so much for bringing us another informative and well-produced segment of another suspension company. So now we've got Showa behind us and we got KYB. Jeff, prayers for you and your family, man. I know you just lost your dad a couple of weeks ago. Christmas is just around the corner. We hope to see you back here at Vintage Motocross Q&A in the new year. Thank you, Mark Farrier and Sunrise Vapor Blasting, for being our vapor blaster of choice at Vintage Motocross Q&A. Ben's Vintage Bike Podcast is on first Sunday of every month. Visit them on Facebook at Ben's Vintage Mini Bike Podcast. So do you want to tell me and the viewing audience who the viewer appreciation viewer is?
I would love to.
Okay.
It's Tony Reynolds from North Carolina.
Tony Reynolds.
From North Carolina, you're going to get this awesome number plate.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Compliments of Paul Stannard and
Yeah.
Preston Petty products. This is the latest off the production line for Preston Petty products.
Pretty cool.
Tony Reynolds.
Tony Reynolds.
Tony, make sure you get me your mailing address. I will get this out to you immediately. Thank you for sharing the show and watching it. So we're not keeping you up, are we? You're still on camera. You're yawning over there.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was
Tony Reynolds, congratulations. You are tonight's winner, okay? We are going to run a quick commercial for Full Circle Racing, all right? And then we're going to be back to wrap it up with announcements, and that'll be it for this week's Vintage Motocross Q&A. Stick around. We will be right back.
Grossi, you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A.
I get asked often, what's the most important thing on Clunker? Answer simple, it's me. That's why I use Full Circle Racing wheels prepped by Tom McAllister. So should you. Watch this and learn why. When racing vintage motocross where suspension is very limited, your wheels can be the difference between winning or serious injury. We chose to run Full Circle Racing wheels because of the super high quality materials and the heavy duty spokes used. Prepped by Tom McAllister, I have the confidence on the track to push way harder through the rough stuff and the bigger jumps, knowing my wheels are going to stay under me. Hey, Clunker may be 50 years old, but his wheels are brand new, and yours should be too. Call Tom McAllister at Full Circle Racing today.
All right, and we are back live at Vintage Motocross Q&A, and we have up next This Week in Motocross History, brought to you by Racer X. Be sure to visit them online at racerx.com. Of course, they got that great magazine, and they're involved with so many things in Supercross and motocross. And Scott Wallenberg, Davey Coombs, and the guys down there. I think they were in South Carolina, North Carolina. They're somewhere in the South. And I got way ahead of myself. 1972, Kawasaki ran its first advertisement for what turned out to be their first major motocross title, though it would be in a circuitous route. Circuitous, great word. Brad Lackey was picked to ride the new Kawasaki prototype MXer in the new Summer AMA 500cc National Championship Series, as well as the 11-race Trans Am Series that followed. When the points were added up for the two series together, Bad Brad had more than double the points of series runner-up Gary Jones of the Yamaha team. Of course, Jones rode a 250 during the 250 500 Nationals, as well as the 250 Inter-Am Series, and won the first AMA 250 motocross title that same season. And because Lackey had not actually won any of the Trans Am races, let alone the championship, when it ended, Kawasaki ran this spread declaring Lackey 1972 Grand National Champion. It wasn't really an official title, but Lackey was certainly the outstanding 500cc rider of the AMA circuits, especially both AMA circuits that year. Remember this, guys? 1974. What was the must-have Christmas present from Santa in 1974? The Yamaha Moto Bike. Pedal bike with working shocks inspired by Yamaha's brand of dirt bikes. And man, was that thing cool. Remember the ads back in Motocross Action or Dirt Bike? For Moto Bike Mike was the kid. It was a cartoon. Moto Bike Mike and his arch nemesis, Bermhead Bob. I have no business knowing all of those things. But anyway, we are going to move on right now with the announcements. Susie is going to bring them to you. Susie, are you ready?
I am.
The announcements? Go on, Suze.
The announcements are brought to you by the International Motocross Museum. Visit them online at www.internationalmotocrossmuseum.org. The Mid-Atlantic Northeast Regional Banquet happens on January 10th, 2026. It happened, oh my gosh, it's like only a couple weeks.
Yes, it is.
It happens at the Wyndham Gardens Hotel in York, Pennsylvania. Tommy Croft is your guest speaker this year. The deadline for tickets is December 31st. The New York swap meet is sold out. For more information on both of these events, go to www.pvrclub.org. And that wraps it up for the announcements this week.
Yeah, here's that January 11th, 8 to 3 thing at the York swap meet.
Yeah.
And as Susie mentioned, I've been telling you for weeks, 2026, York swap meet sold out. I'm glad I got my shirt early. Bill Nazarod sent me the shirt. Bill Nazarod, Mike Slate, and Dave Cutlitz. They're all great guys over there at the Mid-Atlantic group. And of course, the York swap meet, a staple over every
3.5 weeks.
Yeah, it'll be here before you know it. All right. Once again, I want to thank all of our sponsors of our show. Racer X, International Motocross Museum, Motion Pro, SoCal Maico, Preston Petty Products, Full Circle Racing, and Amsoil. I'll be sad to see Motion Pro go coming up here in the new year. I will be happy to see Chris Carter at my house for my birthday party. All right. Hey, that about wraps it up for Vintage Motocross Q&A for this week. Next Wednesday is Christmas Eve.
Right. So you're not going to do a show.
I don't think so. We'll see. Maybe I'll do something a little bit early. Come on, Christmas special. I don't really know. In the meantime, if I don't do that, I want to wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year. But I have a feeling I'm probably going to be here. Gino? Oh, my God. Come on, Gino. Come on. You better lay off the pizza. Okay? All right. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. We will see you next time. Till then, be well. Yes, I love you too, Gene.